I thought they would see it.
I got one.
I got two.
You did?
I mean, they don't have, I mean, they never meet.
What's that?
They never meet you, they must.
Not unless somebody requests it, that they don't wanna go, you know. They're called up, they don't wanna go.
I have no idea that we have insurance.
Could be fees and penalties, right?
What was, I don't know, I never come up with the right word, they graphic appeals for it.
I'm just trying to figure it out.
Family reasons.
Can't go for a
some
Which
kind
makes
of-
sense, that's the board, but. I guess, yeah, I hope that board gets activated, I guess, not great.
Yeah.
Like I said,
Yeah.
it concerns me that they passed this new legislation in DC in June. It says you don't have to sign up anymore, you're just automatically signing up. We know who you are, we know where you live. we know
That's
where
what I
you
always thought, and it's like, yeah, when you guys.
But, anyway, that they passed that in June, and it comes out that we need to put together a draft appeals. But there's people know a lot more about what's going on in this country than we do.
Which makes it kind of limited.
I guess. Whenever we better get it done, I guess.
How many?
Oh, and we don't have-
I should have brought those, I've got the forms that they have to fill out. They fill it out online and then the selective services contacts them for an interview thing. I remember at the Legion, that bridge dedication deal, she had a little, table set up out front there, in the central way. So, talked to her about it. And, she can't really,
Helicopter.
she could go out and ask people to, volunteer for it, or she can't, she doesn't sign them up or have anything to do with them. I thought it was kind of interesting that no past military, conservatives board, but I don't understand that. Would answer that question.
I think it is.
Would understand better the need for service than the past military.
It's just bad. Never been in here.
Apparently, they've never had a problem with something like parking and mounting around here. Have they? I was wondering about that. So-
They have
Call it a tow truck or something?
They have it, or they have to land at the airport, take the ambulance up there. That just adds to the misery.
That's nice.
It's a whole lot better than land here,
Right.
say that, right? But what the ambulances cost, they could put some suspension.
Anyone should probably have some suspension, no?
They're right.
But they're driving like a lumber.
Yeah, because at a certain point, you do have to put pressure in the back.
Yes, well, and their parents, so. It's like- it's ridiculous, what they're carrying.
Not much room in them things.
Pretty much everything they got, and they need, if you need.
You want them to have.
I'll put it that way, you do want them to have.
I through the calls with my mom, car incident one time in the fixed wing. That is a short trip from the airport here to the airport in Sioux Falls. It took us way longer from the airport in Sioux Falls to the American McKinnon Heart Hospital than it did to fly down there. I mean, the ambulance was sitting there waiting with the doors open, and they got her stabilized. It wasn't a really pressing situation. It took way longer than that.
It's a lot, they don't know that. Laying right there at the hospital.
Always got those green electrical boxes. Purview. Yeah. I don't know if it was a snow and then like a bolt would have maybe been thrown on it, so it came off of its, and
Good to know. Yeah. Who's that for that?
it's modern itself, me.
Good to know.
Yeah, so I guess they're sitting there like this.
Every once in a while, someone runs them over.
It's right here, like I said.
That's what I thought you was headed for.
It was not, there was, like I said, the only thing I could think of was a bolt rubbing on it. Like,
Last year, they took them on a rolling beans.
ooh, this is.
Like that baby out like nothing.
Did it make some sparks?
Luckily, it was just ground box. Oh, no, I wasn't. Wire just comes up and goes back down. So it's.
Otherwise, it'd be.
Probably. Yeah.
Jamie, I wasn't permitting you, I was just keeping you from backing up the traffic.
Okay, thank you.
She was over,
Thank you for keeping me safe.
she was over here on the side street taking a picture of the house, and she was doing zoom and zoom and backing out into the street, but I was coming by. So
Sometimes those are a little tricky to get the whole house in the picture. So
Like,
yeah, sometimes I do get off the street.
For half a mile.
I might have laid on.
We'll have to get a set of blinking lights for you.
Well,
It's-
Yeah, I look for a little beeper at your back, you know, how the big loaders, they honk when they back
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
There you go. That'd keep you safe. Well,
They told me,
It
there's
was just kind of chunky off.
But if the commissioner, you know, they shouldn't be running you over.
Well, I wouldn't think so. Bring it up on harassment charges.
Right.
What did we talk about? Like, it was.
My computer says 1 o'clock, we'll call the meeting to order. Commissioner Jones contacted me and said he was likely going to be absent, he might show up, but he didn't know for sure, so we will consider him excused unless he shows. If everybody would stand and join me in the pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Anybody got a modification for the agenda? Add or remove? Any conflicts of interest that need to report? With that, select service.
Motion to approve the agenda as written. Motion by Greg, second by Luke. For discussion on approving the agenda. Hearing none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, the selective service system deal that we are charged with putting together a draft appeals board for the county. I did get two individuals who were willing to serve, Al DeRuse and Tom McGow. Both told me they would serve the board. There was one more I was gonna talk to and haven't yet. And you said,
Yeah, I've got one, maybe two, but I'll just double check with them first before
Do we know how many we need for the board, or do you want?
I think it was 3, I believe, it's in that paperwork, and they don't really, they don't really apply through us. They go online and do their application, and they're interviewed by the selective service system for approval, I guess. But the State Association of County Commissioners did ask us to try to put a board together, so we'll stay on that one and try to get some people to fill out registrations, and
Do we want to, do you feel like we should have more than the?
we should, I think we should have some alternates.
Probably doesn't matter how many we really have, I know officially, right?
Yeah, I would assume that the selective service system will appoint or designate 3, I think, is what the board is, to be the regulars and then have alternates on in. I guess that wasn't clear in the literature, but anyway, we'll keep working on that one and have them submit In those links here is the application form. They can do it online or fill it out and mail it in to the selective service. Anyway, let's keep working on that one. You know, board put together. What do you want to cover next, Doug? Back to the 1:30 appointment yet by any means?
Didn't know it was gonna be so quick with the last conversation. The audit comments were what Randy Pitts, senior auditor from Legislative Audit brought forward, which is the property in Green Heights, which turns out to be one parcel of land, not several. And I included those in attachments for you to look at. Otherwise, if you look at the board, you can see, I think the first certificate was from 1997. So our comment to you guys was about getting that taken care of. So I took the liberty of calling Ted Dickey, our planner with NECOG. He in turn contacted the guy at the State Department of Natural Resources, who said that it could be eligible for a Brownsfield property, but they would have to have the owner's consent. So then it was brought up about getting a deed to the property in lieu of tax deed, which means that he would consent to sign it over to us. Or you can come up with some other remedy that's not listed here.
The part that's got me was there's bins of them are.
Tax collectors have an entire tank complex built on it. Yep. And then
Do they own it?
Nope.
So. And he's not paying tax, and he's not paying tax.
All of those buildings are on record.
People complain when they can't see who's talking.
So all of the shelter buildings are on the record that's right next to it, and yes, they do pay taxes as the Pinocchio site. They have a lease with, oh shoot, Amico, yes, and I got the lease copy from collectors in the last 2 weeks. Yes, but they pay taxes on those, according to the GIS site, which most people that say, they say get it surveyed. Those lot lines may not just be exactly right, so it looks like those buildings are sitting on the lot that Emer is supposed to be paying taxes on, but I don't know, we would maybe need to get it surveyed. I would.
Well, yeah, I can say the way it looks, you know,
The way it looks, but
that's not necessarily.
that's not necessarily
That's not the
correct.
question.
But they are flat, so you put them out, maybe I'm not.
Which one do you want to see?
Can you go to the GIS site for me?
Did I have that up here?
I don't think you did.
Okay.
So you just go to the county page quick. Yeah. You back. 7133.
It's broken.
No, I know we're trying to look at it. In fact, it's a whole bunch of people, so. It's fine. Because otherwise I could just play with it all day.
Will it keep the request?
No.
Yes or no?
It might, click search. No,
Number?
7133. Help me.
Measuring wheel?
No. Thank you. Middle detector and find the pins, because the pins should be there because it was platted out. Okay? That's all I really wanted to see. Because these, I don't know. And Greg Amer may have just told floaters too, who knows?
Right. But I mean, that's all gonna get straightened out if we're gonna try to take it to tax. Because I don't think selectors are like, we start taking the tax property.
Might produce a payment though.
Yeah, we might get money from them.
Someone's gonna pay for something.
So anyway, the question is, what do you want to do? Because this isn't my wheelhouse. Just to bear that.
Would we,
Yeah,
would a survey be in order to,
Personally, I think the first thing you do is to contact the property.
I would say that's where we start. It's expensive, I'm sure, right now.
Kim, off the top of your head, do you know what the do and O-wing is? Ballpark?
Is it about 8,000?
Is that what it was? I think it was on there. Somebody told me at the bottom.
7240.
It was like $500-600 a year, and then all of a sudden it drops down to $32.
I did not know. Like I said, this isn't my wheelhouse.
That's what I don't understand, taxes are high and it dropped down to none because it wasn't paying taxes. So it would have to be a question for.
Well, really? Sherry. She can work here.
Yeah, it's very, that's interesting to see that goes from.
About 7,150.
7,000 with that?
That's true, that was true.
You can ask her.
150, that was a dollar.
Right.
That was a dollar for like 6 years, and then now it's got $14.
I mean, if the state had upgraded that, then it would be a whole lot
It
more.
started at
What they're asking is about the fluctuation in the amount that's owed based on
Well,
the
there
year.
was probably built a structure there that was exact at one point. That's why the taxes would have been higher, because the value of that parcel would have been higher.
Okay.
Yes.
Makes sense.
Okay. Well, I think the first thing is contact.
Who would you like to do that? State Attorney's Office?
I would think that's probably the direction that they're going.
Okay. How do you want me to word that conversation? I could pass a motion requesting the state's attorney to seek resolution short of taking the tax deed,
Yeah, something like that.
which will need to work for you.
Well, I mean, it's gonna have to be, if they don't resolve it, that's the only recourse we have left.
I would use.
But to get to that point, you gotta have title. I don't know.
First, let's just contact them and see what happens.
If it gives you the bird, then you'll know what you need to do next.
Then we'll have to move to the next.
Tax.
Those starts tax in 96.
Since 96.
Right.
Or, so for, that's what we're doing, ground line.
Was,
You
so
will.
you made a
I made a
motion,
motion.
was there a second?
I don't know,
Hey, that I'm gonna have to, like, the state's attorney, send the landowner a letter. Trying to resolve what's going on.
Do we have a time frame, what was on that letter? Well, I think we should have some kind of time frame for it to happen.
Yeah.
Might be
I'm open to it.
a month, is that reasonable?
Yeah. Cause that way we know where we gotta go from there.
Right.
Because it's looking to me like that's probably the direction we're gonna have to go anyway. You never know.
Second.
Okay, so we've got a motion from Luke to send the landowner a letter with a time frame of a month to respond. If you'd like correct wording, so we can get this delinquent tax matter resolved. Is there discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Okay, if you would, the quick claim deed to the North Highway Shop is in the chairman's folder. And, it just needs you to authorize me to execute it. Yes.
I'll make that motion. Yeah, chairman.
Motion and a second to authorize the quick claim deed for that North Highway Shop that we accepted the bid on. Is there discussion on that motion? Hearing none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Okay, and our guest from Infotech is here.
Good afternoon.
Hello again.
Yeah, hello again. My name is Tyler from Tech Solutions. We are based out of Madison, South Dakota, and we are an MSP of cybersecurity and professional IT. I just want to emphasize cybersecurity first and the IT team. Infotech has around, just kind of got in the chase, you guys kind of got some of the smaller things last month. We'll talk on a few of those same, but there'll be some differences. I just want to point those out. We were here last month, a little after August, second week in August, third week in there. We did an assessment of the county as well too. So we want to go some numbers at you and actually say what we do, why it's different, and then the numbers are back. So I'm going to pass a few things around. First is just going to be our list of things. And I got one up here I'm going to share there. Essentially, we're getting to the company. So again, we're all based out of Madison, South Dakota. We have around 10 counties and cities that we do the same work for that we're proposing. Yep, very similar to that. Yep, very similar to last. That's what I gave you. So, if you look at the next one, that's just the cover of the page. We're going to be looking at companies and members. So around, like I said, 200 organizations total, 10 counties and cities, very similar to your guys' size. That's what we do for them. We're going to see exactly what they do for that. We are looking at 10, 12 full-time employees. So we're all based out of Madison. We all have DSU educations. We have around 8 different part-timers, which are DSU students learning the hands-on ropes of what we do. So, like I said, that's our company size and organization. As we put the next one, cyber overview. So we'll go to this one again. So essentially, we take cybersecurity first and everything. We want to be proactive and preventative before we're going to be reactive and recovery. So we don't want things to happen. So yes, we have backups, but I don't want you guys down 2 days or 3 days as we're trying to pull backups and come back up and get you guys on the server. Let's just not have that happen. if there's options in there, right? So one of those ways is we have administrative right control, which means you're not allowed to download anything you want when you want. So there's a vetting process. So that's where the security comes into play. Some people call in like, hey, can I download the Sim Farm on a Friday afternoon at 3 o'clock? Names? Sorry, you cannot. It's not part of the business organization. So again, we stand firm hard on our security. There's a balance there too, though. I want to be very clear with that as well. Security and usability, it's a teeter-totter. It's not just two things usually at the same time, but we find that balance. We do every single time with everyone else. So there's something to work with. It doesn't mean that someone inside the organization like Doug can't have administrator control where he goes in, downloads that task because it's vetted by him, but then he gets right back out and they get to use their data to work on that. Right? Multi-factor authentication across the board, whether it's just your daily work stuff or if it's your emails. That's something we'll talk a little bit too. We want to expand that email sector at that point. We'll see why that's important. We can't watch the left hand with the right hand not doing anything. We're not knowing what that right hand is doing, especially when there's that correlation back to the desktops. Anti-spam, anti-malware, anti-spyware across the board. We're going to leave that there. Enhanced firewall management. We are going to propose at the highway and at the library as well too. We'll talk a little bit why that makes sense here. Operating system third-party patch management. So we go over Patch Tuesday stuff. So I think the last time around was around 60 patches for each computer times 31 computers. That's a lot of patches that need to be done. And those are ways that bad guys get into them. So we don't close those. It's kind of like a screen door. They will, and the worst part is they know that location's at. So we do those patches for you. Another thing that's gonna set us apart is application whitelisting. What programs are you allowed to use on a daily basis? It's gonna probably be Ultra, it's probably gonna be Microsoft Package, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, DocuPro, something that we know that you guys use on a daily basis. If it's not those things, it's not allowed around you guys anymore. Just try to sneak around the back, stop it, say you're not allowed. It's kind of a bounce up the door. Ransomware prevention across the board as well too. Local offsite backups in the event something happens to this building. We have solutions for you guys at that point already built in. Some things that are probably more than what you guys need at the very moment. Cybersecurity awareness training, so phishing simulator. You want those accidents to happen inside a controlled environment rather than real life scenarios. So we send an email to everyone inside the county saying, hey, your Netflix account has been compromised, please reset here, or here's your billing from here. We'd much rather happen in a controlled environment rather than an email from Travis at Rexall, which is real, right? So we want to make sure that happens. Password management, we'll talk about that later. SIEM, that's more of the financial sector. So again, heavy on the cybersecurity rather than just the daily, but you work, rather than the daily stuff. So if you're calling in 15, 16 times a month, that's not where it should be at. You want to make sure everything's running the way you want it to be. Again, I can spend a lot of time on this, you guys are busy, so I'm just going to kind of go through these a little bit quicker because it's probably some of the same versions you guys have. TechWatch is going to be the IT help. It's going to be this one. TechWatch is going to be IT help on the 31 workstations. So you call in, you shoot emails, you can call in. There is a button that you can put a ticketed request. Monday to Friday, 8 to 5, it's all covered during our monthly contract. Right? So if you call in one time or 30 times, it's all the same. We're going to jump on and see how we can fix it. So people are always like, well, you know, you're in Madison, what happens there? In the event we need to, we'll run up here and call. It's not that big a deal. We had someone up here, obviously, in town by 9:15, 9:30 this morning. You guys are not our first client in town, you're part of it. So everyone's usually concerned about that. Like, oh man, you're 2 hours away, what's that going to impact? It really doesn't impact. We've had clients out in Rapid. Since 2015, we've been out there twice. One was because the server, it simply died on them after the guy will call it. We had Dell on the phone and we were in the So 2 times in how many years we feel comfortable on how we set our places up. And that's where that admin rate control comes into play. When we leave an organization, everything's kind of the same spot where we left it. So if there's a problem, you know exactly what we're
What kind of call time can they expect to call the help desk? I mean, like if they call in, someone's almost always, I mean, that Monday to Friday, someone's always there, and you usually get someone right away.
You will get someone right away. So out of those 12 full-timers and 8 part-timers, phones ring to everybody at that point. This is also, so that Monday to Friday, 8 to 5, you're going to get someone on the phone from Madison in the first 5 minutes. In the event Rome is burning and we're not here, we're going to communicate for you as soon as someone's available, which could be 10 minutes, could be 3. We're going to take your ticket and I'll say, hey, I put a ticket in, looking up. So, yep, very, very, very short time resolution. A lot of things, but it's small. Yep. And if it's something that can be pushed out, say, hey, it's Friday at 5:50, can we tackle this Monday? Yeah, absolutely. We'll schedule the flight at 8:01 Monday morning. Business antivirus already be included, guidance and enforcement. That comes back to saying if it's not approved by a department head or Doug, we need approval first. If that's going to move forward. Real-time connection monitoring, you can see when you're up, when you're down. Same with the firewall, we're doing the firewall multiple times an hour. If we see 2 or 3 fails, that means ventures down the town, we're going to call venture. So we can see when people are up, when they're down. Active Directory management is saying, who are you inside your organizations? Are you maintenance? Are you register of deeds? Are you sheriff? Are you highway? And that just means inside of the whole organization, you're not allowed to view other things. And it's not because we're restricting what you want to do, it's restricting in the event you get breached in this one department, all the other departments are going to be fine, right? So, and that's if you give out your contact information. You have many stop gaps inside in the event you click something, we'll talk about those in a little bit. So, comprehensive asset management, you get a monthly or quarterly report on all of your PCs, where they're at, if there's Windows 11, if there's Windows 10. Unfortunately, there's a Windows 7 PC that's been sitting out there on the environment, and that hasn't had an update since 2020. So just things like that, we can address those. So that's the stuff you get someone inside the organization. That's gonna be the biggest thing, mitigation controls, that's just kind of our internal, how we do things, it's the application whitelist. Just working with you guys to make sure that's that fine-tuned machine of usability and security. Again, we decide on security first and start going with that. These all kind of make sense to you as you get into the line item. Firewall management, you guys kind of get that, it's gonna be the red one coming up. Creating harder, more policies than what you guys have now. Yes, you have a firewall, but it's not managed. It doesn't have any additional information for the date of installation. So if that was installed 2 years ago, it doesn't continually get that here. Here's new backups, here's new backups. You'll see backup configurations in all these, so in the event that goes down, we're shipping one up overnight or running it up in the morning. IP management, saying, all right, whose IP, so every computer has an IP, who's allowed to be on the network. If you're not on that list, you don't get access. When you go to the guest side, you cannot be on the business number. So no one can plug in and say, hey, here's the number, if you're not on the list site. Probably the biggest thing we talked about before is VPN networks, so we can create a VPN from the highway back to here. We want to put that ultra software on the server, so that PC sits right across from the Nicole there. Yep. Right across from Nicole, that computer needs to be up, on, and for her to even access it. So, which is fine, but we can create different environments through the VPN. At the very bottom there, open that up to the library. You want to make sure that that has a managed firewall there as well too, because we can start blocking by category. Porn, violence, guns. The worst case scenarios, a kid's on that computer and they're looking up something they shouldn't be, and some parent walks by and says, hey, you let them have access. My 5-year-old can get to any website he wants. It's a crazy way how they can navigate, whether good or bad. So again, some due diligence on your guys' behalf. We should have a managed firewall at the library as well out as at the highway department. So we include those in the proposals as well. I'm not going to beat the horse on this one. We're going to have backups at the data level, which we have a unit back here that backs everything up off-site as well too. This is something we're just going to simply take over. You guys already have it. Thumbs up. I suggest that. That runs as if you have a building or not have a building, and then that has a year retention or infinite retention on that. So it's good. We'd like to see that. Some things we also like to see is maybe on some of the more important computers, more like the register of deeds that has that PC that's acting as a file share. That goes down. We don't want to take the backups of all the counties in every single file. We just want to say, hey, this was a very important PC. We want to take the backup of this and this one. So we'll have some solutions for that later on. We are looking to acquire your guys' Office 365, which is going to have different levels inside of that, and we have a great opportunity to do that migration now. Not only alone bringing in that .gov domain, we can help transfer that over and get even like the sheriff's office, which is on a Microsoft account, get that over to a .gov account for everybody. And we'll help with that migration for you guys. So it's a good time to do it. We're going to take over everything else inside the county, which usually that could be a substantial thing to do, but we're going to take it on for you guys. I love backups of everything inside the SharePoint site if you guys tend to do that. So if you're not relying on that server, or if each department is relying on that server more as a file share, which is just a storage box, we can move things to SharePoint and have that backed up and have security on the SharePoint site as well. And then you're not relying on that server. So if that server dies, if you're relying on that server, you can't access it again. Opposed to if you have stuff out of SharePoint, you can at least log into your email, go to SharePoint and access that, as long as you have it. So some redundancy built in, some continuity, some redundancy that we're really going to put together for you guys at a holistic level. Once we get on that Office 365 plan, this is the next one. Defender, we look at Defender Plan 1. That is a cheap option for additional security scanning when it comes to your guys' emails. So what that's going to do is that's going to scan from everybody coming in, whether it's inside the government or not. So even let's use Travis again at Rexall. If his account gets compromised, and he's sending you in and saying, here's your invoice, please click, Defender Plan 1 is gonna scan that, saying, hey, that's malicious content, we're gonna kick that out, so it doesn't even get to the end user there. So that's the important things. If it's an attachment as well, it will scan it first and then kick it out. And then also at the very bottom, it's looking for user and domain impersonation. So if you get an email from me with 2 L's and Tyler at InfoTech it's gonna trigger. If you get an email at tyler.rude at Infotech with 2 I's or a hidden character, it's gonna recognize that as well too. So again, we're all about security. Security. I'm zipping through these. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask.
I do.
Yes.
I have questions regarding me being an end user. I work in the assessor's office. Am I gonna have to call you when I know that I'm getting an email from somebody that's gonna get quarantined for you to release it, or am I gonna have access to be able to do that?
No, you should have access to that.
Okay.
Yep. So yeah, it doesn't take much. Also,
And if I need like
blacklisted.
something, like pull something from a backup, do we have to call you to get?
Are you talking about your own PC or are you talking about the?
Like if I need to go back to 2 weeks ago, I accidentally deleted something, can I pull it back myself?
You should be able to pull it back yourself in some of that, in the deleted sections that only holds on for so long, but we can also go back and, all depends on the timeline and how long you're at before we can have
And
jump
then
in.
like when we call you, is that gonna be a charge or is it just part of this package?
Part of the package.
Okay, just trying to understand.
Good, no,
All of the
it's
things.
good questions. No,
Okay.
it's all part of the package. Really, the only thing is when it's not part of the package, is if you have brand new software. So if you go away from like a DocuPro, and you're getting a whole new infrastructure, that would probably be a cost there. If you need to make a trip up, maybe, but a lot of times I might be on my way to Pier. I might be on my way to Pier and just grab a computer for you.
If I get new software in my office though, I'm knowledgeable enough to be able to install it myself.
Yep.
You would just give us the permission to be able to do it.
Yeah, so at that point, if you feel comfortable and it's gonna be at least a least signature essentially saying you get local domain admin. And it's just a signed off saying, yep, what's your name again? Jamie gets a local domain admin. So at that point, you can install your software with that domain admin credentials. And then as soon as you're done with that, you get back out of it and work on your daily code now rather than.
Okay.
So yeah, we have no problem giving out those. We just don't want to come in and put our security policies into place and then give out all the passwords and key cards.
Right.
And which I'm not saying that you would, just like, well, who needs to have that security? Right. So good questions.
Thank you.
Yeah. Does that make sense? We're not here to dictate your data. We're not here to be the enforcer, but that was our job. Our job is security. So a good example of that is DSU just had our DSU counter. We had Old Dominion, we had all these guys in town. The fire department was in charge of parking and delivering that security. If you hire me to be parking and let people park wherever they want, that defeats the whole purpose of it, right? Everyone can just go park wherever. So everyone needs to be in particular area. It's the same way with departments and organizations and stuff. Any questions so far? Like I said, please feel free to ask. I know you guys have a good chunk of knowledge already. I don't want to, you want to do the process. TechWatch server is very similar to your workstations there. The biggest thing is we're going to keep your warranty up to date. We'd like to see you keep your warranty up to date on your server. In the event something goes down, 9 times out of 10 it pays for itself out of the warranty on it. So we don't want to see that get released. Pardon? Let it go. Take it two. There we go. That's the biggest thing, and it's the server as well too. So granting those permissions, saying what are you inside the organization? Are you highway? Are you the assessor? Are you the auditor? That's where your piece of the pie gets to be. We don't get to see other things. So making sure that's a user configuration. Network, we're going to talk about that. It looks like you guys have 3 access points, which I knew one per level is what we kind of figured. Making sure that we can see that they're up, making sure that we can see who's on them, making sure if it's a private or public. We will boot phones that are on the business network. They should be there regardless, right? We're also going to do bandwidth restrictions on it, so someone might be sitting up here with kids and they have 3 iPads on Netflix. Want to make sure it's not taken from the business side of things. We want to make sure it's going to the guest side. So we've seen that in the past where you guys are kind of in residential, more on the business side rather than the government side. Somehow the kids got the password to Wi-Fi and they 3:30 every day, the Wi-Fi was terrible. That's because they jumped on their Xbox and PlayStation to buy them from the insurance. Last but not least, we do have cybersecurity awareness training. It's not in here. We won't take baby steps, but just remember that we can do honestly anything inside your guys' plan. We'll work with you guys. Some are already dictated by the state, some have just other opportunities in other places. So, with that being said, let's get to maybe what we're looking for today. Here is going to be, I'll call it 3 different options, or options maybe variations of what you guys are probably looking for. And underneath this one, you're going to see 1-to-1 on the top right-hand corner. And this is what has been proposed by the other entity for services. We have 2 tech watches on the server side of things. So it's going to be your host, then the VM that's built on top of that. So that's going to be 1-to-1. We have 31 workstations that we're looking at, and that was kind of 1-to-1 for there. And I think we're pretty close to what those, by the hour walk around, we're going to be close to there. But just keep understanding, if it's doesn't need to be on it, for example, we don't feel the library laptops out front or the desktops, they probably don't need to be on a tech watch. Those things can be wiped and no problems. We'll just find a different way to do it, right? So we feel we're close, but if it's more, whatever, if it's less, we'll make those adjustments. Before, firewall is only for the courthouse. Like I said, we expect 2 more coming just because of the due diligence of the county. 3 access points and managed network device, which is just a switch for downstairs. We feel we don't 100% know which one's a state versus phones versus 24, I think, for the courthouse, but we'll play with those numbers as much as we can. If we need to alter this a tick, great, we'll take it. We'll alter it. Right? So coming in, that's what the other entity had proposed for numbers. If you do 1-for-1 from our services, what I might not be perfect, I was not able to see the one I can quote, I don't need to. But 1-to-1, this is kind of what we're looking at per month. Does that make sense so far? Okay. All right, the next variation of that is let's add those other 2 firewalls in. So the firewalls I'm talking about are going to be the library as well as the highway department. 1, 2, 3. Front 2 numbers, pages are going to be the same. The only thing that changes is the top one, the second page is going to be firewall times 3. It's courthouse, library, and highway. If you look on the front of the quote again, that's going to say monthly 1-to-1 plus library and highway. And again, if we're having a tunnel from the highway department back to here, that's a separate entity. The library is more of a due diligence, making sure you get content filtered off that. So this is not addition. These aren't 2 combined things. These are separate things. One, and then one we feel has to have a library and highway equipment. That makes sense for everyone?
So the firewall itself, the physical firewall.
Correct. It is a hardware piece of equipment. Ours is hardware as a service. So at that point, you don't get the hardware for that. So we bring our own in.
Okay, so this will just be maintenance fee for, you're providing it for those 2 other entities.
Yep, and it's still at web content filtering, so if someone's trying to look up guns.com, it's probably gonna get connected, it's gonna get hit on it. If someone opens a Facebook ad, which that's your guys' decision if it's supposed to be blocked or not. They open a Facebook ad and it's based out of Ukraine or Germany or Russia, it's gonna do that for based on that. So there's absolute value on that. So plus the highway one, another insight. Not saying there's no Coors Light soda bowl for all this stuff. Someone said, hey, you're covered, you're never gonna get to reach the phone. Absolutely lie. You can put all this stuff into it. But just trying to train some of that behavior, just on what you have in place. So when something does happen, what's our job to come in and reduce that factor and how far to spread it. So again, we want to be proactive rather than reactive. Makes sense? I don't want to rush through this. I still want to make you guys comfortable or feel comfortable we have coming in for security and everything else. The very last piece when it comes, so these are all three options. This is the third option, and this is kind of what I would call a business standard for a municipality. That's the very bottom standard of a municipality, including the email portion of it. So I think Venture has this side of things. Bills for the Office 365 or the email? Nope. No.
Emailing us.
Yeah, so this would be, are taken in that email from before. This would be
Implementing Office 365.
correct for everybody. And I'm close, I think one of these go to one of the library.
Yep.
I did one of those. This is plus library at the top.
Nope, I don't
Okay,
have
that's
that.
yours. Okay. All right, so this is bringing in everything from, this is a holistic, again, making sure that we can see what the right hand's doing, the left hand's doing, and our eyes are all doing at the same time. Firewall times 3, same as before, TechWatch times 31, servers times 2, wireless access points times 3, workstation backup, that's going to be a new one. Again, that's going to be that register of deeds for that Doc Pro server. So if you see in the middle where all the text is at, sometimes that additional text, it's going to say Doc Pro server. We should have a backup on that one, that computer one. And if you deem other computers that should have that image-based backup, we can add or subtract as needed. But that's your decision. 100% your decision as a count. Business Basic, this is essentially SharePoint and emails. You guys have Word and Excel and PowerPoint on a lot of them. We're going to let that ride. 2019, I knew what some of them had more. There's another level we want to see people at, but again, we're talking budgetary footsteps. This is where we're at. So anything under this wireless access point can be added anytime. So like, Tyler, I love that idea. Just budgetarily can't do it right now. Maybe let's look at 2025. We can do this at a different time and let's venture keep that in. Right? So again, this is not, I don't want to come across as you have to do this stuff. These are things that we see as a business standard across the board through other government entities across the state. The 15 are the people inside of the county that need an email account, so it might be more. We just use these as round numbers because we didn't get a great number of additional thing. The number 5, exchange only, that's going to be table right here. I just need an email account. I log in to pearl.office.com, just the same as you do as Hotmail or Yahoo, and you get all your emails there. Backups of all those, so the 15 plus 5, and that's a backup of your contents, so your email that come through, deleted, not deleted. It's going to be your calendars. It's going to be your SharePoint sites, and your contacts are all going to get backed up inside of that Office 365. Defender Plan 1 is scanning those emails for that additional attachments in URLs. Again, that's quantity, it's variable. If you have more email accounts, if you don't, that's fine too. The P2, what that does is it alerts us on logs if something happens. So in Microsoft, they have all the stuff that detects everything, but they don't have anything to send back to person management saying, hey, an ICE is on the tip up. This is the tip up for us saying, hey, something. Right? Mobility and security E3. This should be anyone that is touching money inside the county. Because what this can do is we can put additional security, conditional access control. So you have to be inside the United States. So if Doug goes to Mexico on vacation, he tries to check email, it does not allow it. Simple as that. If it triggers anything inside of, we'll use your auditor right now. If it triggers anything inside of it, it will automatically freeze their account until we are called and we see that. And then we'll say, hey, was that you? Yes, it was. Great, we'll release that again. So we don't want something to happen and it happens again and again and again because the end user didn't catch it. We will freeze those accounts. And then last, we're looking at that managed data backup, which is that unit you guys are already paying for, through Connecting Point, that was installed earlier this year.
Yep.
So we're taking a one-to-one on that, whatever that is. But we'll absorb those costs with that, and that will go away from the different entity. Again, it's one of these three, not all three of these, if that makes sense. There's things that we want to go higher. We can go with a business standard, which includes all the Microsoft package built in for everybody at that point. So you have your Word, Excel, PowerPoint, it's all the same across the board. So Doug sent us someone inside the county that they have maybe version 16 and he has version 19 and not contrasting each other. We can move up to the next one. There's Premium, which has EDR built in, Defender Line 1 built in. There's different levels, but once you get on that Office 365 package, it's easy to move left to right, up or down. That makes sense for everybody. These are all one or the other. Bare bones is going to be that one-to-one plus the highway and library. The business standard that we see across the board for other counties and cities is to be the one that just says something. But if you guys aren't ready to take that jump to that Office 365, that's okay. Like, if you don't have to do that, I just want to make sure that we can do anything that fits inside your guys' budget right now. So just keep that in mind with substantial security.
Doug, how are we doing? Our office tools, everybody have their own deal?
Yep. This would take all that together and make it the same company across the board.
The question I guess I have, you were mentioning too, that someone would be an internal administrator, sort of, maybe one or two people.
Yep.
Which is maybe okay, we don't want to talk about that so much, but, like, recommendations, we give recommendations on, you know, replacement, PC replacement and upgrades on those kind of things. I mean, is that, would that be part of all this?
Yep. That's essentially just a conversation with Doug and I, whether it's picked up the phone and not scheduled, or hey, want to talk next week at Thursday? Sure. Let's go through with that monthly report meetings and the Windows 7 needs to be replaced like now. Windows 10, you can ride that for 2 more years, which you probably get into a budget probably for 2026. Windows 11, don't worry about it.
Because those are the things, I guess, in my opinion, we need to know as a board, what everyone's operating and where the faults are, where we need to get those stuck into budgets that.
Right now, the only thing I see as a big one is going to be that Windows 7 PC probably needs to be budgeted for right now. Any Windows 10, you can do incremental budgeting per quarter until 2027. So we'll go through those conversations. And once we have our business software in, that first report will take us all that information. So month 2, we can have that conversation. And you can just share the report with them, or else you can add to. So if you want your department heads on it, because they're part of that budgetary process as well. Some self-governing, you do that. If not, just talk about it in the meeting.
Access points, that's using current hardware, that's, you guys have your own.
Coming up next. There are a couple pieces that we'd like to have our hardware in because we don't have back end metrics to see that stuff. So this is the hardware that we're looking for. This is the 3 access points for the courthouse, and then that 24 port switch just downstairs. And with that, we have full visibility again to see who's on it. We're able to remotely move them from that. They self-heal. The equipment usually is a one-time cost that they're going to be very long time. We can carve out downstairs as well too, so we won't need a separate switch for those 3 access points. We can say these are on the guest network. Inside of that, we can do private, public. We can carve out a lot of different things. We have printers, they should carve out to their own network. They have vulnerabilities, actually, vulnerabilities in the PCs that we have. So when we had DSU come in and do their tests to the entities that we have, it's a very, very short conversation on what our fingerprint is when it comes to cybersecurity. Usually it's, these printers have these flaws, and that's about it. So yes, so not much, again, these are one-time costs for, and that's what we see right now. We don't envision anything else, but it does say we're not seeing something like that. That's kind of what these are the conversations we have on year 3, saying, hey, you guys got no computers, maybe we should get a switch into here that's managed versus not managed. Those are conversations we can have. We just quote them out, they're all their signatures, say this, you see right here. So that we're in charge.
So if we go with, either one of these plans, we're still gonna have to pay that. Okay.
And like, back to the new hardware equipment.
Yep.
Say, Doug gets a new computer.
Yep.
Do you, when we order them for you, do you give us recommendations of where to go to get them?
100% your choice. We have a Dell Business Standard on hand that we give it for all our clients that are sitting there. So we can pull them off the shelf. So if it happens over Labor Day weekend, we see that Doug's dead in the water, we'll just pull them off the shelf. Typically it's 16 gig, 56 solid state. That's in prohibition. If you have somebody you know that will get you the same specs, you do not have to purchase that to us. We're just going to say, this is how much you should have on it. It should be a 256 plus solid state, and it should have one of those Pro on it. So you do not have to buy your computer equipment.
So you're gonna, when we get something new, you're gonna charge us the same, whether it comes from you or wherever.
Yep, so if it comes from you guys, essentially what we're doing is have it plug it in, and we're gonna wipe it to the bare bones. It's gonna have all that bullshit crap on it. So it might be cheaper, but our stuff comes bare bones. There's no word launchers, there's no bubble blaster, there's no ding. Bare bones.
So you're not charging anything for setup?
I'm glad you asked. I'm here, leading into every single question I got. So the answer is maybe. Can't give you all the information right now. Maybe. I'm sorry, yep. So, if you guys just do the one-to-one plus library and highway, no email, we're waiting this up. 0. If you guys want to jump on that email training now to do that simple basic migration with that .gov, we would charge $500 to do that, because that's super time intensive to get an email from what you have now, which isn't so bad. It's the Microsoft that's going to be more difficult to get it all over into that.
So for the 365.
Correct. Yep. So can I do this 365? Because like really there's 3 options right now with the emails. We don't want it in the budget right now. We'll look at it in 2025, and then that just goes away by $500. I don't know if that's going to be $500 next time when we look at it. Maybe you take more, maybe you take less, who knows? The second option is to move it now. Let's get a basic setup. Next one's going to be moved to a different date, and then we'll read that out with that $500. So you might have to buy more emails, share, you might have to, not have to. But when you manage that Microsoft 365 bill, if a simple rules created saying, I want it from Tyler to go to a different folder, we get a flag on it. If it's forwarded to something else, we get a flag on it. So if you guys fire someone, you hire someone, we set up those profiles for you on the computer that you deem that you want on it. All those are triggered and monitored through us as well. So right now, you wouldn't have any idea if someone created a folder, you probably wouldn't have any idea if flags are getting hit inside of your email now. All the stuff, nothing's scanning for those additional URLs, attachments. We get all that information in there to monitor and manage that Office 365 platform. Again, being able to see the whole map. From a security standpoint, it does zero good to have your PCs and your servers and firewalls looked at, monitored, and managed. And your Office 365 that you're on, your computer's current solution. You're on a computer, so everyone has admin, and they're not scanning emails, so it does no good. Watch left hand. We'd love to do it now. That's no honesty. gonna be a part of that project anyway. So yeah, bring everyone to the business class email solutions. We know what to do with Zerker, whatever Zerker is now. We don't want to change names. Foursquare, Central Square, whatever it is. We work with those in other counties. Dr. Drover, we try to check on them. The next question, if you're reading on the notes, is going to be what's your agreement? Good question. So our agreement is 120 days instead of that 36 months. So that's what we look at for our agreement. If it comes down to it, that is not a hard number, but 100. is what we look at. Proactive and preventative versus reactive and recovery. Comprehensive security across the board, whether it's registered deed, sheriff, courthouse, library, highway department, it's all one unit moving forward. We came in, we did our due diligence, Kyle went on every single computer. You guys left, but now I'm so we yeah. So we came in and do our due diligence. So really what we're looking at is more hardened security, more cyber security at a cheaper monthly rate and less. A win-win across the board. So that's all I have for stuff. If you have any questions. There's probably more, but I wanted to set a baseline that there is a difference between IT, cybersecurity, and stuff. It's a big difference. You don't read.
So then after hours, realistically, I don't know that I foresee us having a lot of issues after hours, but if there is one, it's available, I mean, we're gonna.
Yeah, so every
I see the
evening,
bottom of it, so.
yeah, every evening and every weekend and every holiday, we have a primary, secondary, tertiary, and then that gets sent to every technician, whether they're full-time or part-time, and it gets sent via text, and we'll bring through our text to our technicians every single time. So if it's something that needs to happen right now, we'll come in and get, is that emergency rate? It's $100 an hour for you guys, which we very rarely see any of our 10 municipalities ever have. Someone call in and leave a voice and say, hey, I know it's 5:05 on Friday, you're hungry on Monday because I have this issue. Yep. So they're not going to emergency rates, we'll just call it 8:05 on Monday, then it goes right back to you guys' contract. If it is emergency, yep. We have none of our technicians typically within an hour home at any given time. That's our personal stuff. So driving to work, get that done. We are set up remotely, so if there's an absolute blizzard in Madison, sunshine and 85 here, which is possible, we can have guys working on that very soon.
Do we have any input from our department heads that
Like I said, you guys aren't the first of the town, so you'll be about the 5th by the time our migrations come over. I'm through Pier, at least once a quarter, so you grab something, dispose of something, those are daily charged. Sometimes sitting up here gets boring, so take a couple of months. There isn't anything that you guys have currently that we haven't seen from a department standpoint. If there is something that's further down the line, it's not hard to bring those in as third party entities for their updates and stuff like that. But again, we're here to lock you down. So cybersecurity is our number one.
Do you guys work for Central Square at all?
Zerker, Foursquare.
So, like when I have a status up, I'm gonna ask you to talk to my IT person.
Yeah.
And we're having that meeting.
Just add us on that chain. Typically, if they're asking you, we've probably seen that asked for additional spots, so it's going to be the same resolution for the most part across the board. Geographically, we go from Madison to Fargo, to Bismarck, Holdridge, Rapid, back down to Yankton. We're here. I have questions. We have great ones now. Doug has my information on some of these here too, so ask privately. Feel free to ask, shoot me an email. Let me know. I guess look at everything.
So if we I don't know, well, I guess, say we did it today, how long would it be to get everything, to start working on implementing everything and changing it over?
For sure. We'll probably be looking at the new year, in all honesty, with our current onboardings. We'll probably start those conversations with Doug on what do we want it to look like, what do we want access to this, do we want to do a SharePoint, we want to keep it on here. Those conversations will start in January, that we're probably complete by early. There's a lot of phases that work in the planning of it. We just don't hit a button and all the stuff changes at once, that would be an absolute nightmare. You know, it broke the auditor's office, it broke Shiv's, the register of deeds is okay, that's not what we do. So we might take a computer or two in each spot and make sure it's okay to push, and then we'll do a little bit more. So push, check, push, check, push, check. We are looking at quarter one this year. So again, we can work with any, whatever your guys' budget's at, we can work on and phase in and things. It's not, I said, I don't want to come and say, you have to do this, you have to do it now. That's all right. It's not our intentions.
I see the other day, the 17th, here, you could balance vote.
Yeah, that's essentially just to protect hardware. If our suppliers say, hey, we want that, $500, and it's outside of that date, we'll just record that. If it's lower than that, we'll just need to do it. So that's all that it is, to protect that hardware. Or come in 4 years from now saying, you said it was this.
Yeah.
So it's line prices.
I just, yeah, if we don't make a decision today, we won't have another meeting for.
So, and that, what that will do too, is if you guys sign the documents now, once you get that stuff signed, it locks you into that time. So you guys will be coming up next on the list. If you guys, like you're talking about, you don't have a meeting for another 3 months, 2 months, that pushes that locked in migration. Don't scare you like that, that's just what that will work. We've seen it before too, where I can't continue together for the next quarter. Well, that's harder. So a lot of people come in and put in new migrations the next month or so, month and a half. But that would get you for those guys.
What are the counties are you serving? You know?
Counties in particular, we live Kingsbury County, Lake County, Moody County, Trent County. Those ones like that. And then 5 or 6, 5 cities inside those that have a county. But in addition to that, kind of forgot, we are the endorsed provider of cyber IT and security for the South Dakota Retailer Association, South Dakota Agribusiness, Independent Insurance Agency of South Dakota, the State Bar of South Dakota, and also we're in good standings with the Rural Water Associations of the state. So it's not just using, we want to go for associations, those lines.
So if we go with these are just one-time payments, these fixed year.
Yes, sir.
Then the others are just a monthly quote, and then what's your percentage that you went up in the last year from year? Because I'm assuming if a contract's only going to be good for a year.
Yeah, so we've done one price increase, it was last year, and it was just one single line item of Tech Watch. Everything else stayed the same, and that was since I got on in at least 2015, but more than likely 2006, the first price change last year. So we're adding cybersecurity across the board, helping you guys, but we're equal costs. So that it wasn't for everybody, just for us. Good question.
So if we went, say I'll quote one first, the cheapest one, out of any of the Office 365 stuff, but then we wanted to, let's say, let's skip the third one, the other one is the Office Suite. Our setup cost would be this 500.
If you skip the Office 365, it'd be 0.
Okay. I'm just saying, if we did one, and then 6 months later, we wanted to add the
6 months later, if we reassess that, honestly, we'd like to do that. In perfect world, we'd like to do that in tandem, right? So we don't have to be up here again for another meeting. But we reassess that cost of what we said it would be for us. Just at that time, look at 6 months or 1 year, or 6 months or 1 year. And so, because the volumes may or may not change, if they come down, great. But it's fun, because I don't know what your guys' timeline is on the .gov. If you have one.
Don't have one.
What is the real advantage
Pardon me?
of the .gov?
Each user is vetted through a process to ensure that it's attributable to a government entity.
There's no checks and balances, or as many checks and balances with .org.
Are most other counties, cities pretty much associated with .gov? I mean, percentage wise, kind of a mix.
The funding package from the state, from the legislature, one of its motivations is to get everybody moved to .gov address.
We can cross that bridge, because that ain't done yet. Nothing's been certified. I've got the attorney general office and kind of get it done. So we can actually cross that bridge when we get there. We should be able to help out a ton with. Yeah, honestly, the biggest ones we look at are either 2 and 3 from the monthly, but 1 plus library, or the monthly, which is all inclusive.
You basically, for the most part, are saying the cheapest one, the one-to-one, you wouldn't even want to do it.
Well, if you guys are driving on the due diligence on the highway department, which had issues at one point in time, I'm not saying it's going to catch it, but it's going to help it. And also the libraries, just your due diligence on other things you get to. So you have to go and incorporate sites, whether it's 5 or 15 or 27. I guess it wipes it with that freeze at the end of the day, but it doesn't dictate different time frames.
So who sets those parameters?
We have a set standard that we're trying to work off of our other entities, and then any additional stuff will be dictated by you guys. We do list of
I
categories.
say I'm not really the person that get up in there, oh, if this is allowable, this isn't, you know, not good.
More categories, categories in general rather than very specific sites. We can get site specific if we want to. But a lot of those sites fall into general categories determined by technology. We don't sit there and make them. We just apply it. Any questions? Everything we asked.
With these prices that you gave us today, would they be good for next month? Could we meet monthly? That'd be like October. Because that would give us time.
I know the date doesn't prepare that, but there's not an accuracy change in the we'll still honor that. To set up. I can take it there for you guys.
Okay.
I think this is another one of those topics that we have discussed a lot of times. Probably something needed, but I learned the expenses just won't stop with security.
Well, that's part of it, and then we gotta know what we can afford, can't afford. Because it looks like this first one here is one-to-one. This looks to be like, not even worth. I mean, we either go to the one-to-one of the library and highway, or this one here. Because this one here really doesn't cover us.
Leave some things open for you guys.
Right.
And things, they're not just open, but they have their own, because there's software still on the highway department stuff out there, right? If they didn't have anything out there, and it's just literally a mechanic shop and nothing else, probably don't need anything, right? If they didn't come back and access important information. That's the reason for the highway, mix of libraries, you should be doing something where kids and adults should be, or should not be doing. Like you said, there's things down further along the line that are more money, more security. I did not want to come to those right away. We can pay those in when the budget gets to go. Yeah, if you have a limited budget, let me know, and I'll look at that, possibly a lot of money. So,
So the managed firewall on here, it says 24-month term.
Yep, that's a good catch. So the one thing there is, the only term there is Sonic Wall to get a free firewall. So saving roughly $2,000, just be with us for 24 months, and it's month to month afterwards. After that. So that's not our personal stuff, it's Sonic Wall's terms of free stuff. Here's a long term.
Okay, so what's the thought of the board? Should we get the ball rolling, should we talk with our department heads and see what they think is necessary? I mean, it's something we've discussed quite a few times already, and I don't know.
We talked about it, we never really got
Into it.
into that right here anyway. It's just kind of been like, yeah, we should do something. But I think we should talk to the department heads. See if this will work with them. Or if there's something they absolutely hated. I don't have to deal with this data.
So, you know, like I said, it's more security, a cheaper rate, locked-in agreement, and we're all local ownership inside of our organization. That'd be the big thing. So if you guys have questions, you guys have any, feel free to look through that. If not, I'll take an addition. Awesome, thanks for your time, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Taking the objection, if we take 5 minutes, your bills.
You want to take these back?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
The changes from the time this courthouse was built to now are amazing. Our firewall at that time was in the state of our department heads put the stuff in the wall, lock the door. It was safe for fire, it was protected.
Yes, we need.
Yeah, maybe we're gonna put her finger in the ball.
Maybe you got a lively meeting for us. Go Jackson. This evening, not up. Answers or something. It's a little stronger. What do you think? I look at you. Oh, boy. Well,
Maybe I should start asking again, like. I shouldn't use it. No, it's just one of those things. I don't care.
You don't care.
If you ask me.
No, oh, okay. You think this is a good program?
I want to see the price comparison to the other one before. That's what I would say. I want to see it right, because Connected might have already, some of our software for them. So I would like to just see the price differences, and then maybe we can use the other guys as way cheaper as a negotiating point back to them. That's my opinion.
I'll get it mixed up, and
Those words will get involved.
We haven't gotten it yet. The tester hasn't even gotten it yet. I emailed her today. She was supposed to get it in August. Yeah.
But no, he's been doing a lot better this
You did with something that was really consulting.
So the more everything just kind of takes it out, yeah, you don't feel like you start.
Not so much tapping.
Oh. I don't like stuff that's all hard and can't chew it.
Well, I think they're getting along.
Good.
In your director role, I don't know. Or I can't. Or then two handfuls of people that have left. And they are increasing around January.
Yeah, okay.
They were just kind of waiting, but now we're in a easy thing. Oh, so, I mean, I'm not. I guess it's all on the same thing.
The glasses, baby. No, oh my God, that's big. Sure.
Just what I needed, more paper.
I heard you need more paper.
Stacks of them. It does. You just told me not to.
Yeah.
They won't support anymore. Apple. So the interface between the two is working as well as it should be. One of these days, it's gonna come apart. I buy a new one. Just like, yeah. My questions are, how do you check you guys do? You get what it is. And not stuff where you know, catch it in pocket. I don't know. I mean, look at my phone, it's already caught 30%.
It's got a lot of hair.
You know, I'm like, you know, websites. It's a turn. My cousin that, they asked him for advice, and they were just saying, it's actually missing a bit. And when it's small, it's small. It's not just small, you know, he said, it's a great place. But once they have information on the website, and also, that's what it is, you know.
Well, they're not gonna do it now.
Much more than that. Now, if I have someone
Well, you're saying that we'll only pick out, you know,
Well, I can give it, pull it out before it's just a minute. Let me fix this. It's there.
small gyms, so they're-
I believe
All your fault, right?
Usually is.
It is getting fair, so we can,
Okay, we're going back to work here. If we can-
Okay, 2:00, we're set for the provisional budget hearing. So the way this works, if there's anybody from the public that wants to offer comment or ask questions of any of us, we'll do our best to answer them. And then it goes to the staff for questions and answers. Then you would have a motion at the end to make any modifications, put your line by line. And I do have one that I know for sure. And then you would simply make a motion to adopt the provisions about the budget as your proposed annual budget. So I would recommend seeing if anybody in the crowd, from the public, not staff, has a question. Puts a lot of pressure on Don. Jamie.
I haven't seen any fingers. It's getting where it takes more fingers all the time, huh? My question about our proposed budget as our bean counter dug is, that do our projected revenues and our projected expenses balance? That we're not going to end up where we were to last year with.
They do not. It still requires us to have cash on hand at the end of the year in order to make ends meet. So again, we're faced with if we don't have enough cash at the end of the year, it's something's got to give next year. So, no, we are not self-funded at this point.
However, with what we project as our possible cash balance would, at this point, I mean, there's no guarantees.
Correct.
Would balance isn't the right word, but would be adequate to fund next year's budget. The cash balance that we would carry.
Well, right now for the general fund, the goal is to have 750,000 to carry us through the next year. For road and bridge, it is
500.
no, I have it 200,000. I have 200,000 as cash supply.
All right.
Was it supposed to be different?
Well, I was thinking with that cushion on there, we were looking at $300,000 cushion.
I'm not familiar with the 300,000.
I got the email.
I know guys that put really expensive pillows, but they're not cushions.
There's a difference between what we put on their applied, cash applied line for the budget versus what we actually are going to have in the.
Are you talking about like the transfer from general fund over?
No, I'm talking about the email that you sent us about this project. We got published. We added on, yeah, I'll just talk to you about it later. But I will let you know our estimated cash forward at the end of the year is around 700,000 right now with $500,000 transfer in. So we're doing okay in that department.
Right. Yeah, it's always better to have more than nothing.
So Nicole, you're saying that you would, your year-ending balance will carry us to the first half collections.
You will end up, I tell you what, we're hoping we don't have to take that transfer in, the 500,000, it's budgeted. We're hoping we don't have to take that in and we can roll forward with $200,000 in our cash balance, which should make next year's budget fluid. And then if we don't have to take that $500,000 transfer in, that will also help the general fund stay.
Right.
So your projected $750,000 carryover has that maybe 500,000 included in it? Is that-
Well, I don't project it in that manner. It literally is the difference between what we are bringing in for revenue and what we're spending. And that cash applied is that difference. So, you guys make that happen, I know. That's essentially your difference between your ins and your outs. And if it's not in the bank, then the outs have to come down to match it.
And obviously, we're still just talking about it, nothing on the IT side, this cybersecurity stuff we're talking about is in our budget
Correct.
as well, either, too.
My thought is I would see that as possibly starting to happen the first of the year. If the revenue is there to pay for a few months until first half collections come in. But like I said, I would have never thought we'd be looking at spending the kind of money we do to protect data and records.
Well, if you look at the industry, all the hardware costs more than it ever did before. The R&D behind that hardware has gone up like never has before. The hourly rates of these people that do this service dwarf anybody paid in this room. You know, it's an expensive gig. You know, and it's not just in government. I mean, what do you think you spend on tech? Don't answer this, but technology just in the farming for damn. You guys have an idea that what it takes to start it up and then keep it going, it puts you crazy on technology.
Well, no, well, he was not going to maybe get into it, but what, I mean, you're proposing is cybersecurity, tech support, hardware, updates, I mean, it's not just security. Which I guess I don't have a sense of everybody here on how much time, I mean, we spend troubleshooting stuff. But, I mean, we don't have anybody to call. We call you or
Jamie.
we call Jamie or.
And how much call me, but I quit.
And how much of your guys' time would be eaten up by trying to solve a tech problem that you can just solve? Shame, I'm not gonna solve it.
Okay, then I would suggest opening it up to other departments for comments. I have mine wrote down. I can go through those. Don't talk from the corner. Get up here.
Why can't I talk back here? I'm reading your comments, okay?
So come on up.
Asset manager, what do you mean by that?
It's exactly what it sounds, somebody to manage the assets. Our inventory controls are more than laughable.
So you're talking about the inventory itself?
Assets.
Yeah, okay.
Yep. Managing assets.
You just wanted to clarify that. Didn't know if you were meaning like that.
Are we talking about money?
No.
Okay, so you had something from your department on the
Yep.
budget?
Okay,
We
so,
need the IT.
Yeah, we need the IT.
We need the IT.
I agree with that.
Whatever it is, we get.
What was all that?
We need IT.
Yeah, we
That's
need
one
IT.
thing we need. I mean,
Okay.
that's high on my list.
Okay, thank you, Susan.
ready?
Yeah.
Okay, the growth that initially was put in the budget was wrong. After, and these aren't certified numbers, but after doing the recalculation, Department of Revenue, our growth countywide is going to be 0.32, which means we can capture 3.32 increase. So line 311 of the general fund needs to be changed from $2,636,329 to $2,508,932.
130,000.
There you go. 127, 397. Less.
In wrong with that.
So, because we're at that hearing, every one of these changes has to be done by motion, because it has to be recorded.
I move we address the three revenue line
Yep. General fund, 101, 311.
to reflect the new CPR and revenue growth.
Second. We've got a motion and a second to correct the CPI revenue line to Doug's recommendation. Is there discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor, aye? Those were kind of weak. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Okay, the next item I have for you is the asset management platform. Right now, we use a module within Ultra Incorporated to do that. And it's a little cumbersome, it's inefficient. The department heads don't have access to it unless they come ask me to produce a report for it. And so every year when we do inventory controls, some of the department heads can do it really easy because they don't buy a lot. And then those who buy a lot or we sell a lot or trade in a lot, it's harder. So it actually ends up taking months to get it all back in order instead of weeks or days. The easiest way to do it is much like the grocery stores do, is when you buy a product, you scan it, they automatically says you need to replace this, or you get a report, and that's what I'd like to see us do. Go to something where we have those little stickers with the barcode on it, and you scan it, and say this item's gotta go down the road. Nicole and I worked on this 20 years ago. And then even to the point of trying to do our own instead of buying one, but honestly, I think we need to buy it. And so you are gonna talk about switching software, right?
I am.
Or did you take it off the?
Well, I've got it on there.
So for them, what it means is, right now, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I've never done this, so. Each worker has a time card. And if they go work on project 33, which is North of Valen and Wessington, they basically write on their card what they're working on and what equipment they're using to work on while they're there. Right? That then gets handed in at the end of the day, and then it gets loaded into the computer manually. A system like this would allow them to simply scan a barcode somewhere on that piece of equipment, and it would produce a report for them instead of tabulating the manual.
Scan the barcode on a piece of equipment, with what, or something, or?
Or a reader. Either one.
And I'm not sure, I haven't looked into that necessarily. I do know that the program allows the employees to put in the time cards on their phone manually. But it's more of a drop-down menu rather than a code 29, 314. It would be nice.
So when you're talking employees using phones now, though,
Now
that opens up a whole nother thing for the county to be liable for. If you're gonna ask those employees to use.
We're liable for them as soon as they bring them on the premise.
Right, but if, to use their own device.
Right.
Most of them are gonna come back to you and say, then you're gonna pay my Verizon bill for me to use my phone to do work.
It's a very common,
Right?
it's a very common thing in the industry
Yeah,
no, I'm saying on the other side.
or are you gonna just get like phones, like the highway department, getting phones, like the sheriff's office?
We're gonna buy them iPads instead of phones.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
I'm just, it's a
The
very
biggest
common.
ones we can find,
Yeah.
with the most technology.
Because they can log it when they get back to the office too.
Well, the iPad would be perfect, then you wouldn't have to use, I mean, you could go to surplus and get iPads for them to use.
Well, we'd buy brand new ones, like the $4,000 ones.
I just didn't it's brought up all the time, but it's very common across a lot of industries for people to use their personal devices for time card systems. I've seen it. in a lot of places. So it's good,
I've been using
it's
mine
good
since
to
1996.
bring up, but it usually gets ironed out. It's actually been litigated.
Yes, it has. So anyway, that's something to consider.
Do we looked into a platform?
Yeah.
Do we have a platform of mine, maybe?
There's a couple different ones. You know, I'm just gonna be honest with you, Ultra has told us that we're using it for at least 5 years, right? 5 years on Envy. And I'm tired of it. It is so inefficient. I spend more time dealing with their software than I do the data that goes in.
What have you looked at?
Probably Tyler Technologies. In your side of the world, what would it be?
That one would be fine, I looked at that one.
Would it be cheap?
It's not. Ultra's probably, I don't know, what do you say, more cost efficient?
Well, it's the lowest price, but it's not the most efficient.
No, I'm just talking about cost wise, it's probably the cheapest. But it's very cumbersome to use.
Yeah, so, like, right now, I'm dealing with the auditor's study bureau. I produce a spreadsheet, which then gets set aside, and then Ultra, I load it into there, and then that gets loaded into Axiomatic, so I actually end up doing the same exact report 3 times.
Sometimes it's,
Well, yeah, and then
yeah,
errors.
and then maybe they're 7 more times because the Department of Revenue has started a new website where we upload all our data. And with everything, there is a learning curve, and also getting new software and then getting that, implementing it. There is those things, those things that happen, and they have to work through it. But we've been having to work through it with them. And I know from my side, and even talking to the Department of Revenue, the auditor side is probably the one that's taking the longest as far as that data goes. So I will keep attest to that for you, but it has been. And if you're not computer literate, like a lot of people that have been working in a lot of counties, there's been a lot of people quit. They don't computer. And Ultra doesn't make it easy.
Is there another platform, is this Tyler? Does it cover all the offices per se?
Yes, we can get all 3 on Tyler. And
Is
then,
that-
and then that's what Susie's on. So then if it's iSusie, then it does.
It makes sense to me if you're gonna do something, to have a uniform amongst all offices. I mean, I guess I don't know if it makes sense to me, but.
Well, right now, the version of Ultra that we're using is still DOS-based.
Yes. It's like I'm 14 and a freshman in high school.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
okay.
One step above the chalkboard. So, that's something to consider as well. The managed IT, I wasn't gonna say it while Tyler was here, but some of the stuff that they're talking about adding to the system is stuff that's already owned by Venture, and so if we go back to Venture, we wouldn't be paying for it anymore. So like those switches and the access points, stuff like that, that's currently provided to us through our phone bill.
So we would keep that?
No, we can get rid of it. Because right now, it's very tough for us to manage, well, it's almost impossible for us to manage anything. If we identified, like, let's say Jim's computer started infecting our system right now, we couldn't interrupt it, short it, pulling the power. We'd have no idea.
Do we pay a maintenance or monthly fee for Venture on that equipment, or is it
Yep.
provided?
It's part of the phone bill.
Yes. So that would theoretically go down some, offset.
And the emails, that we pay them to manage our email accounts, and that would go away.
So that costs us, on top of that.
They charge us $250 a month for email address.
So all the radios will be changed through the duck note stuff and everything.
Yep.
Is there?
If they want to,
The state
we're
would,
not required to do it, it's just more.
the state's pushing for that too as well, you said a little bit. Is there an incentive from the state? to do
Right
that?
now, the Attorney General's sitting on all the controls of the money that was uptraded in the legislature, but he's not communicating any plans yet. Has he done anything inside law enforcement, Shane? The Attorney General, as far as that technology money?
So there's money that was earmarked for stuff like this. It just
That's
hasn't
$7
been,
million,
it just hasn't been awarded.
specifically for counties and cities.
But we really don't have any specific programs. He's just sitting on it. As far as we know. Okay.
He's got the purse, let's just put that. Yeah. So the benefit of the 3, 5, and 7 asset purchase plans so that you can have better planning when you're looking at the budgets, because if we go into a managed IT environment and they're gonna tell us that we can't move on from a computer, which is the right way to do it, we're gonna have to have a plan for cycling through some of that equipment.
Which we should have anyways. And he said they would, which obviously they're, I assume they would be forthcoming on how we should go about that, have some pretty good thoughts.
And I don't think we have that Windows 7 machine on the system, because we went through the deal with DSU.
Well, I don't know.
No, it was Chelsea's computer. You guys switched that out, didn't you? Yeah.
Okay, I can't remember which one that is, that runs that program in the back. And you can never update it because I just wiped that program off. And it's running through my main computer. Keep it going, it has no monitor and no keyboard.
It's like a VPN,
Right?
it's like a VPN.
Yeah, so then there's what is it? Yeah.
That's controlled through Tyler.
No, it's not controlled, I mean, Tyler.
Don't they manage the flow of information though? It's their program, right?
No, this was from, started, I don't even know,
DocuDex?
what?
Was it DocuDex?
It's digital. From a California company, and when I got here, and I knew from before, we never update that. We do, it just runs. We can't use, so my old books that they scan, sometimes you can't read them, go in it, you go in there and look. It's just running one little program in there, but it has old books on there, which I'm trying to get my Tyler stuff, which that's what I'm working on this next year, to get that going, to put the historical stuff on. And once I get that on, then I can cut that guy out.
So my suggestions here are not necessarily for you to adopt them now, tomorrow, next month at all. It's just that these are things that I see that need to be looked at in the future and planned for.
What kind of, have you gotten any ballpark numbers from the asset management side of things?
About $6,000 for the software itself. Because like we said, if we use our own phones or if we.
That would just be for your department only, or that would be
No, it's countywide.
countywide?
Yep.
For your comments, Tyler.
No, this is just the asset management. That's one. I don't know, does
Does
Tyler?
Tyler have that? I was just gonna ask.
I don't
I
know.
should go get my.
I've never seen it.
You keep talking.
So anyway, that's pretty much that, unless some of the other department heads have things on their wish list that they wanna put in your ears.
Nicole, you do.
I've got it down to talk about software, you do it now or you want to do it later?
Later's fine, after I sit down.
You think your budget is where it needs to be?
Well, from our estimates on the sheet that I've got on there for you guys, we're hoping we don't have to need the $500,000 transfer and we're able to go into next year with $200,000 in cash in the fund. But that also isn't accounting for our lack of income between January and April. So we're still gonna need some fundage to support us through that. But, you know, we can see how it goes and play by ear. I don't know, how do you guys usually function with that? I know last year Doug was kind enough, you guys gave us a large transfer in and then sort of regretted it. But
What do we have, what did we put into the budget?
That's what I'm looking at now.
Next year for that?
We did
Next year?
transfer.
it's
Is that
for,
for what?
for transfers into the road and bridge.
Yeah.
We have $500,000 in transfers budgeted for next
For
year.
next year.
And we've already gotten 500,000 this year.
Well, it's not like the 500 left for this year is like an all or none we can do.
Right. Because we-
Well, at the end of the day, let's say that our frugalness pays off. We can only carry so much over, and the excess of that, I would suggest that we take and put it into a fund reserve for snow removal.
You're talking in the general or the?
In the road bridge fund. But there might also be projects here that don't get finished either. Then what we would do is we would assign those funds so that they don't get counted towards the 40%. So like if the Skylight project doesn't get done, we can take that $40,000, earmark it for that, keep it assigned for that purpose only.
What'd you learn?
The brochures that I have, I don't have,
Yeah, I've never seen it in their stuff. That doesn't mean they don't
let's see if
have.
they do have it. So that's,
I feel like, as far as the IT stuff, I feel like we need to move forward on that in some fashion. So to me, we should have some kind of number installed into our budget to accommodate for that next year.
I would say, if you pick the plan that you want, I will call in and say, okay, give us our one-time cost, and then give us our recurring cost.
And I don't know whether we go with whatever one, but I feel like we need to put it in there. And I
We
don't
need
know,
to put a number in there.
I need to put a number in there for budgetary purposes. So I think.
So you're number.
Not necessarily say we're going with this company, that company. We just need a number in there. And I hadn't figured that if you want to put them with the one with 365, it was gonna be more, so 29,000 a year. 30,000 a year, plus their one-time stuff, $800 some odd. You're looking at about 32,000 budget line for the year. And then,
Worst case, for the worst case.
well, that's what I'm saying, at least you got a number to work with. If we don't put anything in there and then something comes up, we have a budget.
Correct.
And I don't know if we would put that in our commissioners' budget, that's cool. We're good for department or.
Legislative audit, established an IT
The day.
portion for us to use for bookkeeping.
Perfect.
That'd be the
So
right.
just, we just have a new spot, and we basically did.
Yep.
No line item.
Another idea.
Another line item.
But I think it's, we should have a number in there. Yeah.
No, we want to use it, anyway.
I'm not saying we have to spend all it, I mean,
Right.
find something we like, it doesn't cost that much. But at least if it runs over that, at least we've got something figured out. If you have a zero, it's gonna hard to solve. What does that do to us if we put in a 32,000?
Well, the biggest impact is just gonna be unmanaged. Just- On the general fund side, it would be comparable to a vehicle. And there's no vehicle being requested for next year anyway. So that budget actually came down
But I mean, we still have to figure, because if we do the IT, which we need to do the IT, that's gonna be a recurring every year.
And most of that will,
And even the vehicles, it's kind of a program we need to get set up on, not necessarily they have to buy vehicles. We need to have some money in that for, so it's not all of a sudden we need $50,000.
I would assume we put in the future that like your 3, 5, 7 year asset thing for IT, that would also just get dumped into that new IT line item system, I would guess as well, any kind of computer replacement, whatever. Yeah.
And more like, yeah, capital expenditure.
Right.
I mean, we still do, I think there was, what, we got 60,000 in the line, right?
We've cut it to 30. Yeah, and Arlen told me that he doesn't need a vehicle, he's still fine. So we get another rotation out of it.
Why would we insert 32,000 into the IT budget line item?
I'll second
We've got a motion and a second to pencil in $32,000 for IT. Is there discussion on that motion?
So with that, I can't remember the quote from, Connecting Solutions.
Connecting Point.
Connecting Point.
You think it was 1,695 a month? I'm not sure if that's what.
That sounds,
It sounds about right.
Yeah.
We're just putting a number in so we have something.
Yeah, just putting in a.
This is what we want.
Right.
And I don't know what that plan versus is like.
That is included, I assume.
So 32,000 is still your number?
Yep.
Any further discussion on that motion? Hearing none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
okay, nobody else has any other comments, that's it for the budget hearing. The last thing that I need from you is we set a date for formal adoption. Which typically means I make these changes, and then you come back to that. I put in the paper that we can do the 26th, but I think, if I understood Nicole right, they're going to move the township info meeting
Yeah,
to the same date. Then you get it published, the public notice published according to the statute, so this should be pushed back.
We can't, or we're not doing that?
You can still have the discussion, you just can't close the part of the meeting.
So you're saying just move it to.
I think that's why Don was here,
Don was the only one.
and that was loud. So with just these two changes, that isn't gonna take me long, so you can pick any date.
We have conference
Yeah.
11, 12, 13, right? What is it?
Well, it's 16, 17.
Okay,
Yeah,
so don't pick any of these days.
on that whole week. And when you're gone the 26th.
Maybe the 17th?
Tuesdays and Thursdays, so generally start a great meeting, but it's always volleyball.
I can't hear you, I'm sorry.
Tuesdays and Thursdays are not always ideal, like you may.
Well, yeah, for sure.
4 weeks out.
Lunch, noon meeting, so it's just gonna be a short meeting, right?
Well, the township meeting, how long would you think that takes?
It's not.
We've got,
Yeah.
It's just, that basically, it then results in also approving the 5-year plan too, right?
we've got some township officers out here meeting.
Yeah, there's some people out here.
So we want to wait till after the township meeting?
I would do the same time. Say the
Their meeting is 26th.
22nd.
You said the 26th meeting?
That's what I originally proposed.
Oh.
You have to advertise for 2 weeks, right?
26th, I don't know.
You would not be here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
25th, Wednesday?
At 5 o'clock.
Still golfing? You'll be done by then? Or it's discretionary? Monday?
Maybe at 5 or 5:30. Have a meeting at 5 instead of.
Okay, 5?
5 o'clock on the 25th.
They're so agreeable, they're just.
Okay with that, I think.
26 at 5 o'clock?
25th.
25th. Sorry, it's hard for me to hear a deer fishing around. Okay, that's all I got for you. Nicole, you're up.
All right, well, we're gonna adjust the 5-year plan meeting. We do have a crew of 3 guys here, and I just figured we'd touch it really quick, and we can carry their comments forward in a note. And we'll get the hang of this. So, all right, well, you guys can look at all of the sheets. I'm gonna take you up to my summary down here. So, this is what we're looking like right now. I just got the report this morning from the treasurer's office, so those numbers should be up to date. What we're bringing in wheel tax and motor vehicle taxes next month. They'll show up in the reports now, I should say. Income from August. These are the invoices that you guys are signing off on today, $260,000. So that puts our cash balance at $586,000 right now. Does that make sense? I left these in here because we received 4 payments from the motor vehicle taxes. This is the one we got last time. And then the prorate license fees is biannual, so we should have 1 more payment coming. I'm gonna guess that's not gonna be here till January, but last time it was $40,000. So this is just down the road income. It should be showing up in the future. I kind of left it on there for mine. I'm trying to wrap my mind around how often we're gonna get these payments and round about how much they run. Then this is the monthly budget estimate, the remaining monthly budget for the year. So this is the remaining estimated budget for the year. We're at 1.353. Jeff, this figure in, we have about $677,000 more that we need to spend. And I'm estimating that this is how much more income we're gonna have coming in. But that is including that transfer in. You guys thought we budgeted for that, but if we don't need it, it'll help the general fund along. So, as you can see, at the end of 2024, we're estimating with the $500,000 transfer in that we'll be at $712,000. So, without that $500,000 transfer in, that puts us at $212,000 cash. So those are the numbers that I have for this, or at this point. And that's there for you to reference if you need to later too. Doug was commenting that we were discussing about options. So I was told when I started that Ultra was gonna send us an update 5 years ago. They commented they were gonna do an update. So now I've been here a year, that's 6 years. I spoke with the gentleman who came and did his presentation last time. He told me that we're still a year and a half out from piloting the program and testing it. I know Chris knows this program inside and out. It is not the program that I want to inherit at the pace that it runs right now. They're not wrong, they have a lot of data. They have all of our historical data with Ultra. They do have good reports, but I'm gonna guess that if we start rebuilding, we'll be okay.
They should, whoever, if we went to something different, I would assume they didn't take that and dump it in
Transferring some
there.
data, right, I'm just.
And it's I mean, I would assume it's ours, I mean, so it's not like they can't hold it hostage and say, can't have it.
I'm hoping that's possible.
Unfortunately, the feedback that I get about reporting is that Ultra is the number one reporter as far as putting our data and putting it on one duplicate or in a report that is usable. They're the best one, but they're the worst as far as being up to date with what century we are currently living in.
Right, I feel like they've kind of got us and now they're just gonna hold on to us. But yeah, so that is something we're looking into. I have looked into PubWorks or GWorks, they've combined. There's at least 10 other counties I've talked to that use that. And they do have the app where you guys can go in and do their timesheets on their phone. A lot of employees choose to do that, or they're offered a tablet from the county to take with them to do it with. And I've talked to the guys and they're open to that. They said it would be nice to do it in real time, so we're not forgetting where we were or when we left or what piece of equipment we were in which truck. So I think we got most of the guys on board with that. Of course, Jeff and Danny and Vaughn are the three that really aren't too excited about it. But I think they can figure it out if they wanted, if we made it happen. But I mean, as like you said, this is down the road, and that's okay. We'll take our time getting there. And I was hoping to get a quote from them and see maybe how much they ran on a monthly basis in our situation. But
What was the name? PubWorks?
it's PubWorks or GWorks. They absorb the other.
And that would be like a comprehensive solution for the highway department.
It would be the highway department isolated. So we already are isolated. Our information doesn't interact with the courthouse at all. I know Carolyn sends reports down to Chris and they compare numbers, which we can do with any program. And hopefully their asset program, from the looks of it, it's way easier. He's not wrong. I did go through the asset list when I started, and it's kind of an active guide to keep track of everything. And then for everybody, when they purchase something, to fill out a form and turn it in, and when they get rid of something, to turn in a form and remove it from the system and all of that good stuff. So I see what you guys are talking about on that being complicated in this system. But anyway, I'll move on from that. So we got those 2012 Macs sold. We were notified that they are sending us a check. Did that arrive?
That's it.
Not yet. So they mailed a check on 8/28 of 24 for $25,500. Yeah, I guess it is what it is, and we learned about the lesson. And, I'm assuming we don't want to go with something where we don't have a reserve again. I'm really disappointed after what that gentleman told me, he was pretty sure we could get it from. But let's see here. Then I have been pecking away. This has bothered me since I started. We have heard all about these bridge grants, and all of this stuff, but we've never had a comprehensive list of what bridges are on grants and what we have spent already. So this spreadsheet is what I have at this point in time that is qualified for grants. What part of the granting process we're in. At this point, we're doing primary engineering. And this is what we have spent. We did reports from 21 to 23, what we spent in the past, and then what we've spent this year so far. But if you're interested on where the bridges are at in the grant process, this is a good breakdown for that. So you guys know to go on our website, go to the agenda, and I've got that data right here. You want to look it up. But it just gives Jeff and I a better idea of where we're at in the process and what's going to be coming next. And then for the 3 bridges that we are in right now, we are right now signing letting paperwork for, which I have right here. These are actually getting to the construction phase. And we need your permission to continue on with the letting. I think last time we didn't make a motion or anything, we just went through with authorizing it. Those bridges are on this list. I think this is the 30-220-166 and 3194-250. So the one is it's north and east of St. Lawrence, about a mile, and the other one is 6 miles east and 8.4 miles north of Miller. But we've spent almost $9,000 on engineering, around 8,000 in engineering on these, and hopefully that's all we'll be on that. And we'll be able to get some construction done.
And so construction costs that will incur be on this in 24, or this would be 24?
This is gonna get into 25 expenses. So that will be the wheel tax for 2025. I'm gonna guess that they're gonna do all 3 of them at the same time from what they have said, depending on who gets the bridge letting. They're doing the letting next month, October, November 24, and they're hoping that those bridges will be completed by October 31st of 2025. So that is on that sheet for you. But so we got 3 bridges that are getting there. We did have a couple. We had a removal of the Rose Hill Bridge that was done this year. Finished this year, so we're seeing some things getting done, trains moving.
So what do you, need for that? Is that any authority, consensus board?
I just need you guys to, to have consensus. I think last time we just said you all agreed and you signed it. So that's each of those pieces of paper that are coming around, there's like 6 of them. But
I agree with board.
so I'm estimating we're gonna have 90,000 in expenses in those 3 replacements next year. Replacements or repairs, I guess. If that is feasible, cost-wise. And then we are going to officially postpone the public meeting for the 5-year plan. It did not get properly advertised in the paper. So, like Doug said, we'll do that at the budget meeting. Did you guys want to come back for that one, or would you mind signing in on the sheet? You want
Do both.
You want to come hang out with us again?
We'll see. What's going on that day?
I know, I
Need a
know.
pen or what?
Huh? I do. Did we decide on a date on that deal?
25th,
The 25th.
5 o'clock.
Okay. I'll just read it.
I don't, there's a couple right there though.
And then our engineer wasn't able to be with us today, so maybe that'll work out better anyway. I think he'll be able to be here next time. But, let's see. So, no, since these guys are here, I'll open this up and we'll just look over this really quick. Jeff and I and Brad went over our 5-year plans. They're pretty much a loose floor plan for what we want to do in the future.
Click down here to make it bigger.
Do we need it bigger? Okay.
They might.
But we were able to take some of the engineering costs off the list because that is done. As you can see what we paid in our engineering in the past there. So that is nice. Let's see here, I have too many papers. So Jeff went down and kind of prioritized what he thinks we need to hit next. I changed this up a little bit and added a summary line for our total cost projects so that we can have an idea of what expenses we're looking at. These are really loose numbers. Since we don't know how far we're actually going to get, especially with the bridge replacements. We do have one more local federal grant from 2021 that is in the engineering phase, but apparently it's stuck in the ecological study that they're doing on it right now. So I don't know if that's something we can plan on popping up next year, or if they're gonna get to it by the end of this year too. I'm gonna guess we'll be waiting on that one. But anyway, I guess you guys can see, like I said, this is a pretty loose idea of where we're gonna be for the next year. Were you able to look at that online at all? You didn't? Tell you what, I'll pass you a copy so you can study it. I don't know if you have any tips or advice or not. But, and this is our, where we just source this, I don't know. Do you guys wanna look at these now, or are you good with saving it for later? Yeah, the plan. I just figured since those guys were kind enough to show up,
Yeah.
we could send them with a copy. But locally funding, we're ending up about 1.5 million in expenses every year. And of course, this all changes depending on the weather, snowfall. Things that happen to the roads. So we kind of, I guess, gotta be willing to go with the flow on that too. Construction is definitely apparent. Major Johnny, Project 2. You guys have a couple weeks to look at that and study it, so if you have any questions, we can get with it next time. And let's see, where are we here? So officially, we're postponing the meeting until the weather meeting. Pardon? I was wondering where that sign-up sheet went. You guys got that back there?
Sure, still hanging out there.
Okay. But by then, yeah, so if you guys got any tips on what we arrange better, let us know. But other than that, I can move into the safety program, unless you guys have any questions. About as much excitement as you need to now. Okay, so I have the annual safety and loss control training conference coming up in November, on November 20th in here, 20th and the 21st. This registration cost is $75. And I wanted to ask your permission to go to that.
Sure.
I also, I guess, wanted to mention, I do feel a safety committee would be really helpful. Just have somebody keep an eye on things up here at the courthouse. I feel like Will would be a good advocate for that. With all of the physical stuff that he does and the ladders and the electrical, and I feel like he would benefit from coming. I don't know if he would be so kind as to join me, or I'd like to extend an invitation to him. But I'll talk to him about that, I guess. I don't know. Do you guys have an opinion on that? Will you have a problem with him joining me?
I think we have. More there.
I think, I would agree that we need to have we should get a safety committee in place.
Yeah.
That can visit about concerns, whatever, at least quarterly, probably. Maybe get together after a safety meeting or something.
Yeah. But, August 21st, we had a full staff training. And I I did it on office safety, safe lifting, emergency action plans, which included active shooter, fire escape, fire extinguisher use, and we had 20 employees and attendance. Of course, the highway department, we didn't do office safety, we did equipment safety, so, or shop safety. And then I was notified that we didn't qualify for the Silver Safety and Loss Recognition Award from South Dakota Public Assurance Alliance and SDNL Worker Compensation Fund. So we made it above bronze this year.
So we're improving, because I don't think it's silver ever since I've been here, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't know in the history if we've gotten above bronze. I haven't seen anything documenting that at all. But, and then Greg and Jim Jones were kind enough to sit down with me, and we're still working on that safety policy. So, that's where we're at on that. As far as the safety program goes, do you guys have anything that you'd like to address, or? Okay, with how it's going?
Next up, hold. Next up, hold.
Right. That is a pretty intensive process, for sure. Okay. All right, well, I will pass the baton to Jeff. If you guys have a few. Thank you.
Yeah, we had that issue in Holbrook Township, and I think most of it resolved. They this contractor, with some lack of communication. Pretty much we did it.
You said they paid the contractor?
They did.
Okay, thank you.
On the rate funding, I took it on myself to go out and talk to Riverside Township and Reedheads Township. We got a structured 1 mile north of Reedheads on the pier, full of corn stuff, you're probably all aware of it. Needs to be more culverts on the backside on that back road. Riverside is willing to apply for that. And I told them I'd be willing to put that in, because it was kind of our responsibility when I started before the rate funding. We put that in there, not knowing exactly what to do with the rest of the road. We didn't know how it was gonna flow, so we waited for it to flow, and consequently it didn't flow. We sat there and looked at the ponies, because we didn't really bank on that.
So you think that the culverts that are there are okay, it's just that
They won't flow. There's not enough colors in that back road, and then it eventually flows over that road in the back, but there's only about so the culvert left to flow, it gets that far, so it slows it down to the point the corn stalks came in there and stopped. And now it's not functioning at all, so we can clean those out and put more culverts in that back road so it can flow.
to the north.
Yeah, so I visited with Reedhouse Township, the landowners, and they're all on board with it. And I think we should probably put those in, if you're okay with that. Kind of what I told them, what I could get approved for, that's kind of what I'd like to do with it.
You'll be able to use that right money.
The rate will pay for the culverts, the county will just put them.
Looks like a meeting, kind of looks in the way.
Nothing to be done, so it should have been done in the first place, just
We feel that the engineer you're talking about, we felt that would resolve it, for sure.
certainly gonna help.
So you're saying the county will put them in, that'll be in lieu of the 20% for the township.
Yeah. That was the agreement I made with them, as far as that, as long as I can get it approved with you guys.
Require a motion, Doug, or consensus of the board, or?
The motion only costs the amount of ink I put on paper. It's a lot more meaningful though.
I'll move to approve that proposal.
Motion and second to approve adding those culverts in, what township, applying for the rate,
Riverside.
Riverside, township is applying for the rate funding.
Is that something that we can get the materials this year yet? Or is this gonna be next year?
It's a next year thing, but it's, we can get everybody's applications in on the deadline last couple times, we're gonna have to do it first, just culverts right away, so wait till after first, and we got them built. So it's like, it's worked out, but doesn't mean it'll get done this year. Depends on what it does.
We just have, they just have, or whoever's doing the application has to get it in by whatever the dates are, and be approved in January.
Has to be approved by January 15th. Last time I think we did it at the October meetings, we had it.
But they can submit anytime, we can, we
Yeah.
don't have to, okay.
Sure. And it's got the- There is a deadline on the application of the 5-year plan. I think the 5-year plan was in August, and end of September is the application deadline. So we could,
But we wouldn't be getting any money for next year projects until next year.
we've already received the written, we got money. So it could be approved, and we could order. But
As long
you
as
don't
they get their thing, okay.
Yeah, as long as we get the paperwork, in, that's the thing. And both of them will be. We'll bring that to you next meeting.
Any more discussion on that motion? Hearing none, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
And there's bridges in Riverside, well, this will be the one that I talked about, that's gonna span over 20 feet, to make that a bridge. But then there's also one in Plato, in Logan, I believe there's gonna be one up in, down here in Spring Hill, there's another one the same way. These bridges, they're measuring like 19 foot 8 inches, we're gonna need to put at least 2 8 foot culverts in them to do that, you're gonna span over 20 feet. Parameters of county bridge. Just so that we're aware
County
of it.
structure.
There will be a county structure. Awesome. I don't see any way around it, I just think that's just the way it's gonna be. Just so you're aware of that, cool.
These townships all have applications in for these.
They do, yeah.
I'm sure they want to keep them.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you could do this with a box and you're gonna stay within that, under that 20 feet, but you're gonna spend way more than 250 grand on one structure. It's not too clear. And then the cost of the township, creating high, to the crane and accept all this.
In reality, the fact that those, convert from a township bridge or township structure to a county structure when you put pipes in there, that's the whole reason this rate program came about to begin with. Is all of these flows that are probably technically should have been a county sized responsibility to begin with, the townships didn't have the money.
Right.
So the fact that they're becoming according to the current law, a county structure. I guess that's the whole point of the rate program to begin with, townships didn't have the money to take care of this stuff.
Right. So, you're probably most of you are aware of that as well, I know that we will have some extra crossings on the list.
Yeah.
We get for a very long time.
We never want that to happen also.
Yep,
We can raise money for all of them.
yep. I think we penciled it up to about 300,000 right now, currently, that's, I think, probably all in on the deadline. We're gonna finish that, bring it back to you next month. Then the last thing I have on there is the street in St. Lawrence, the county road that goes from I-14 north. I've had several complaints about traffic being too fast on there. Now, everybody brought to my attention that there's actually a school bus stop over the north end of that. So, I think it'd probably be a good idea to slow the traffic down a little. It's 35 right now. I think we need to move that sign a little further north, and maybe put a 25 up close to the city limits. I don't know if it'll help, but
How far back I put it?
no. Okay, maybe we can push that right now. I just think we need to move it back, keep the 25 just a little bit in front of us. Just thinking about it.
If I remember right, it's still in the Wall Drop yard. It's right up the corner. At Harold's? So what's the sign at Wall Drop?
Maybe we just need to add 25.
It might be a little closer to the
So I'll write a resolution for that, for you to adopt next meeting.
That is.
Not that it may not help, at least address it, or we can do our end.
Is that something you're okay with, I'll bring it back to next week?
Yeah.
Decisions of the citizenry in your department, I guess, so. We'll approve it.
Sign up to I think that's all I got. Other than I would like to ask you a regular session.
Thanks, Jamie. Thanks, Jeff.
I'm just reporting that the month of September is when we have assessor school. I have opted to take the IAA 101 class online versus going to Oklahoma. They didn't have the 101 available at 102 and 103. And I want to take obviously the first one. It's not available until 2026 at the school. So I'm just going to do it online. So I am going to be saving the county some money. So I'm not going to travel or stay in a hotel. I'll just still be taking the class. We'll just be doing it online. Okay.
Okay.
And so I'll be doing that a week in September. And then we need to we need to go into the planning and something.
Well, we adjourn this commission and reconvene this, for meeting, that's the planning, so. I'll second.
Motion and a second to adjourn as planning commission and convene as board of planning and zoning.
Aye.
Oh, no, wait a minute. Get your cap first. Let's switch your caps. All in favor, aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Okay, so
We can sell tickets to the circus.
this is just the requirement. We need to meet quarterly. So I had to put it on this month. And also I just wanted to report so that the community is aware that the latter part of September and the month of October, I will be reviewing all active permits. I have 45 in the county and 29 within the city of Miller that I will review for growth for 2025. Okay? Any questions on that? Okay, that's all I have.
I make a motion, we adjourn and go to the planning commission, go back to the regular commission.
Second.
A motion and a second. We have to discuss that. River Caps, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We're back in regular session.
Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
There's 4 plats to approve, and they've made their round. There's no objection from anybody. We approve them.
Can we approve them all in one, or should I? Or do you want?
I see other counties doing it that way, so.
I'll make a motion, we approve the 4 plats.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the 4 listed plats. Is there discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
I want to make sure that you guys, when you see this report, you understand what it doesn't say. It's really missing. So this is done the first business day of each month between the treasurer's office and the auditor's office. And it's basically a cash reconciliation. The thing I want you to know is that these deposits, that's not all our money. That's just money that we're holding. It could be for schools, townships, and other entities. I don't want you using those numbers when you're calculating the net position of the county. So, let's go back. This is harder than it looks, isn't it, Nicole?
It is.
And then, I think the best mechanism to show you where we're at is again to reference the change in our position as far as comparison of expenditures to revenues. So you can see that our expenditures were $400,000 less than our revenues. And so that's going to result in us continuing to have a cash fund budget or fund balance. That's a positive number. And hopefully we'll continue to be that way through the end of the year. If it turns out that it's not, then you'll have to impose spending controls to meet your goal of having cash to carry over into the next year. But otherwise, it's still looking favorable. It's not great, but it's not horrible. So.
We had already proposed spending controls in about May or June, through the end of the year. You're talking about additional ones, possibly?
Well, let me ask you this, who's policing them?
True.
There's your answer.
Yeah.
Because I'm not the policeman of spending. As far as my reports go, we were given an opportunity to review our workman's comp. Now, we're not obligated to do this, which is interesting because even though we're not obligated to continue with them, they'll give us a 19% credit renewal if I submit the renewal request. So I did that. So we will be getting a 19% renewal. I did look at some other sources for workman's comp, and I frankly don't see where we would be in any advantage to go elsewhere at this point. The basis for that is based on 58 employees. That includes full-time, part-time, seasonal, and board members. And then it takes into consideration our total payroll for the year, which is $1.739 million. So we get a little savings there. The next item is the parking lot. We had discussed this previously about using this area closest to the doors for parking. So I just made a quick visual for you on what that looks like, and just to double check if that's what you had in mind.
Are we not licensed?
Pardon me?
Are we not licensed, or we just can start parking like that then?
That's a question for your custodian. Because I'm not paying mine.
Well, no,
I'm
I'm not having it, like, are we?
Well, there are some people that think I'm gonna do this. but-
Oh, they do?
Oh, yeah. Or make reserved parking spots for certain people. Yeah.
Oh,
Didn't we discuss taping this off at one point with parking lot tape to see how it works?
Yeah, to see if the
I don't
floor is
remember
very good or not. I think you and I and Doug talked about that on the way to that Sullivan County meeting.
You're talking about the center area, right?
So we could get cones from Jeff, right? Jeff, you have cones that we could use, that we could mark off parking. You got cones? I mean, and then just try it. I don't know. I think it, I don't know why it was low.
Didn't we talk about?
I think it would be safer, especially during, when we have court, and we have people parking in the center that are parked so we can't get out, and,
It does get congested with those vehicles.
Yes.
And then people coming from the west who are now later, they're around most a little more side.
and we can see them, because when there's people parked in the center, we can't see people coming up this way when we're going out, you know. I know it sounds stupid, Chuck, you're looking at me.
It's the biggest thing is that everybody in their head to flow the right direction.
Yeah.
Because if you get somebody coming in the other way and you got everything sloped.
But then you gotta see how it works.
Yeah, you can put like, I'm not opposed, throwing some cones up, see how it works. If somebody's gonna have to have everything.
Will's gonna need to get, put Jeff and get some codes and do that.
Do
That's
we
what
have
we're-
access to, like, painting, the painting?
I just made the
equipment?
picture. I am
Okay, I'm
out of it.
asking the room, do we have access to
No.
painting stripes?
It's not hard.
No, I get that, you mark it out, you measure it out.
I can tell you from personal experience that I've seen somebody painting lines at the hospital, and I've also seen them painting on Main Street.
Yes.
Local people. But I can't tell you that anybody here would do it. That's not in my wheelhouse. I can tell
They make
you
a
there's
little
not,
wheelie thing, and they just put a spray can in.
Like, is that something that, I mean, I'm not looking, that our highway department or those guys could do, I'm just asking, like, is this gonna cost us money?
Well, it costs something, it won't be that bad. If we're gonna do it ourselves internally, be some paint cans and a little time.
Well, it's kind of nice to have handicap parking.
Right, but they want.
But I like this layout one.
I personally did too, and not just because I made the map.
But also, the other, we're back to the same thing on this level. We need to decide about that entryway, no matter what as well. I mean, it's kind of silly to have handicap parking there for everyone who really can't use the door very well, or handicap, but you can't get in. So, it's a kind of a, we gotta deal with two things here, I guess, in my opinion.
So as far as the concept goes, you're okay with this one?
To do a practice run, it's not gonna be set in stone. Or what are we gonna talk about here?
Yeah, practice.
All right.
Say it to everybody.
I hope
This whole thing.
And I guess-
People that absolutely hate it.
We need to follow the one-way.
Yes,
That's probably should get the signs put back up
Are they gone?
yeah.
then. They've been gone for years.
Okay, then we should put them up. Do we have it?
Unknown.
Yeah, you want to sign?
Not the auditors.
Huh?
I do. I don't think I
So
have
we're
it.
gonna make this an exit only? Or no?
It needs to be if you got it this way.
Yeah, you have.
It has to be one way.
So we will be putting in this way.
That would be your entry was to the exit.
Okay, what was that one thing? Okay, so I'm just trying to go with the hospital enters this way, so why would, I mean, you get,
So we just block that up.
we're just blocking that off so they can't. Through our parking lot. I get you to that. Oh, boy.
Well, they can only go up, they won't be able to
There's
do
gonna
it.
be, they have to put an arrow so that they have to go one way.
That's,
Oh, we just have to enforce it, we'll talk to Sheila, right?
Yeah.
It would be
like,
better,
they, I don't.
at least you know what you're in the direction.
I think you just need to have a conversation with whoever's gonna do that project.
So, we're on consensus, that we're just gonna do it with some cones on a trial basis.
That's what I would do.
We need to talk to Will about setting it up.
I don't know about code, somebody will trip over a code, it will be liable.
Okay. So we want to talk to Will about it? Setting something up? Someone's got to get a tax.
I can't remember. Flying tape is
It is. We used it in the fire hall.
Local aspiring artists, in our lives.
The city hasn't already, I've never been to the wooden chip they use on Wall Street. It's pretty slick. All right, so as far as ACH payments go, in the 5 years I've been up in this office, the harassment started for doing ACH payments for our vendors. And initially, I put it off because there's just no substitute for paper when it comes to dealing with lost payments, but visiting with some other auditors, they all seem to have embraced it, so I would like to stick our finger in the water, or toe in the water, and start by using part of the revenue for ACH payments. The part that I don't understand yet is because we're going to affect that payment before you guys get to approve it. So I'll have to figure out how we do that, but it won't be our money anyway. Well, some of it is. It isn't ours till they send it back to us. I just want to make sure that you guys are on board with that, because it's your money, not mine.
You can do same day, which is up to 4 o'clock.
I'm almost 60 and I can't hear. What'd you say? What's that?
If you do a payment through the bank and you use the ACH that you're currently using, you get it to them by 3 p.m. It goes out that same day with that same time.
Is it that? If we get it to them before 3, it'll go on the same day?
You're worried about sending it out before it's approved.
Yes, I am.
Is there a problem with waiting until it is approved? I mean, like in most of these time-wise, is that? Or?
No, I can't think of one that would cause a problem.
So you just still have a paper one?
Yeah.
That we sign off?
I can tell you what it would solve. We send out checks, people claim they don't get them, then we send them new checks, and then they find the old check and cash it.
So then you got another text.
Yes.
I have no problem with it, I guess.
Is that a motion to approve exploring this with the
Yes.
partner revenue payments? Thank you.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve, sticking Doug's toe in some water for ACH payments or something like that.
That is correct. Nailed it.
Is there discussion on that motion? Hearing none, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries.
Inside of the folder in Jim's area there is a very thick agreement with the state of South Dakota Department of Public Safety, Division of Emergency Management, to enter into the state local agreement for emergency management. What? The emergency management agreement. So I'm assuming you've all read it word for word, dot for dot, that you're wanting to do that again for the next year. And if that's the case, it requires a motion to approve, so this chairman can sign it.
Same percentage.
50,
Yeah.
yep, on wages and benefits.
Vote to approve.
A motion and a second to approve the emergency management. What did you say it was? Agreement?
I'll write it in, LAMPG.
Is there any discussion on that motion? Hearing none, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
I would then ask you to approve the minutes of the August 6th, 24 meeting.
Second.
Motion and second to approve minutes of the August 6th meetings or discussion. Hearing none, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Consent agenda includes the August building permits, the registrar's financial statement for July, the payroll ledger for August, library board's approved minutes for July, and the draft minutes for August. We will be approving the bills, claims, vouchers, payment. So moved.
Second.
Motion and second to approve the consent agenda. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
We've already set the next meeting, so we don't have to deal with that. The next regular meeting will be on the 5th, but we need to discuss moving, sorry, not the 5th, early November already. Moving the commission meeting for November due to the election. History has always showed that it will move to the next Thursday, and then you can list the votes during the same meeting.
Second to November.
That works for me.
That's the problem. That's a good vote.
Okay, is that a motion?
Yes.
Second.
Motion and second to move the November meeting to Thursday, the first Thursday after the election. Any discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Okay, that leaves you with an executive session.
Move to enter executive session.
Motion to enter executive session is second. Is there discussion?
Is that for personnel, Jeff, or what's the subcategory? Personnel?
Enter executive session for personnel. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
That's it after that. No other. We got just a minute.
Yeah.